Yep, you saw it right. The hood is up. Well, maybe your mind went to, what did she do now? Or maybe you jumped right past that too. I bet it's going to be a really expensive repair. But did you ever think that maybe I'm just doing routine maintenance? Did you think maybe Mary's just changing her oil? Well, no, you already know I don't do that. Maybe she's topping off the coolant. If you thought that, you're partly right. I was topping off the coolant until I overfilled the coolant. Now I got to figure out how to get all that extra coolant out of there. Not as easy as it sounds. And no, I'm not crying about it. It's allergies. I swear to God, it's so windy. I don't know what's flying around in this air. Shoot! So what is the big deal about overfilling the coolant? I mean, I think everybody's done that at some point or other, right? It doesn't seem like it does much damage. I mean, there's a bottle there. Isn't that called like the overflow reservoir or something like that? It's made for that, right? Yeah, well, for the overflow to work, there's got to be room for it to overflow. I filled that up all the way to the top, radiator 2. Take off the radiator cap and it blew up like a volcano, and it was cold. The engine had been cold for like 8 hours. It's not supposed to do that when it's cold. So yeah, I think I got a little too much in there. So what are the consequences? What actually happens when you overfill coolant this way? Well, for one thing, a lot of it ends up on the ground. And for some reason, critters like the taste of antifreeze. And personally, I do not want Mr. Chipmunk's death on my conscience. But besides what happens to the animals, some damage can be done to your engine. A lot of people don't know that you can overheat from having too much coolant. Most people think overheating is a consequence of not having enough coolant, and generally it is, but having too much can cause an overheat as well. Now, there's also a lot of pressure in there, and that pressure can cause all kinds of problems. It can damage your radiator cap, which, again, doesn't sound like a big deal, but see, there's this thing I don't know a whole lot about, and it's called cavitation, okay? When you've got moving machinery, it changes the way the pressure is on the air bubbles. Okay, back up. There's this thing that happens. What cavitation is when air bubbles get in, okay? I'm going to research it. I'm going to talk about it more at some other point on some other video, but this is a problem more for diesels than for gasoline engines. But there are certain types of diesel engines that are very affected by this. They're called wet sleeve engines, and I don't have one, but why not be prepared, right? So you're probably wondering how I happen to put so much extra coolant in there. Well, see, there's this chipmunk. He comes out of my mother's backyard, does this over and over, comes out of my mother's backyard, runs down the path underneath the bus to the end of the driveway. Then he crosses the street, runs up the driveway on the other side, and goes hop, 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 3 hops exactly across the rocks until he lands right next to the front door of my other neighbor. He does this like 50 times a day. It's some sort of ritual. It's fascinating. I can't figure out what he's doing. My friend Marcy thinks he has a family on each side of the road, so, you know, he hangs out with these chippies, and then he runs over there and hangs out with the other chippies so that nobody knows they're not the only family. I don't know, could be. Anyway, right after I put the funnel in there and started pouring out of the antifreeze bottle, Mr. Chipmunk showed up. And I went whoosh to follow him with my eyes, and boom, all of a sudden that whole bottle was in there. I gotta figure out how to get some of it out. The only way I can think of to siphon it would be with my mouth, and I'm not putting antifreeze in my mouth. I listen to true crime podcasts. People kill people with antifreeze. I'm not doing that. So here's the fix. This squirt nozzle comes from a Simple Green bottle, and don't worry, I'm going to rinse out the Simple Green before I put it down into the reservoir. This is going to go into the reservoir, and then I'm going to go squirt, squirt, squirt into this hose, which is left over from when we installed the sink, into this antifreeze bottle. And yeah, it's 50-50. I know, don't buy 50-50. It's a waste of money. It's all they had at the gas station, so I bought it. But it's going to go back in here, so I don't even waste a drop. Look at me. I'm so smart. I stole this from the internet. You know, I didn't exactly make this up. Well, okay, I got this part from somebody's random post on the internet, but this part, it's all me, baby. Okay, it seems like we've gotten the fluid back down to a normal level. Finally. Yeah, that took a little while. Took a lot of trigger finger here. Yeah. In the past, I have been known to be a bit of an ostrich when it comes to mechanical problems. You know what I'm talking about. You're driving along, you hear something funky, and you just kind of go, turn up the radio and pretend you didn't hear it because you either don't have the money, don't have the time, don't have the energy, whatever. You're not going to deal with it right then. Those problems never get better. So I have vowed not to do that to Max. I am not going to be an ostrich with this vehicle because Max is more than just a vehicle. Max is a home. Max is a way of life. I love you, Max. One of the reasons I'm focused on the coolant right now is that I'm having this little problem with the transmission, and I know that coolant can affect your transmission performance. See, there's that ostrich tendency right there, because there's not really such a thing as a little problem with the transmission. Transmission problems tend to be big. I'm not sure that the problem is the transmission, though. What's happening is it's kind of over-revving when I shift into third, so maybe it's some regulator or something, but I don't know. Basically, it goes, you shift and then it goes, and then drops back down. Okay, doesn't happen every time, but it gets in these little cycles where it's happening continually, and then other times it doesn't happen at all. It doesn't feel like the way it felt when my transmission really did crap out, but it doesn't feel good. Now, my transmission is only 6,000 miles old. It was rebuilt last summer in Iowa. It's under warranty, so it's not like I couldn't get another transmission if that's really what's going on, but it just seems unlikely. I hope it's unlikely because getting a transmission rebuilt is a pain in the ass. Even if I'm going to have to find a place that honors the warranty I have, and then who knows how long they'll have it. I mean, I was stuck in the Motel 6 in Des Moines for a week while they were doing the rebuild last time. I hate being without my bus. So my next move has to do with the transmission fluid. I'm going to flush it out and then see where we are. I'm not going to do that myself, though, because I overfilled the transmission fluid once, and that is bad news. It's not like overfilling your coolant. It's a lot worse. So I'm on my way to see my buddies down at Valvoline. I'm going to have them flush my transmission, put in all new transmission fluid, and see what happens, you know. Here we go. That's my Valvoline friends right there.
Hello.
That's Brandon, right, Brendan? Right?
Brendan, yes. Yeah. You're the only person that's ever pronounced it right.
What? How do people say it?
Everyone says Brendan.
Oh.
I swear.
That's because Boston, and they think it's...
I've been dating my girlfriend for 6 months now. Just a few months ago, she actually come to find out, she was like, oh, it's Brandon? I thought it was Brendan.
Oh my God.
I swear to God.
Here it's all Brendan, because their last name is O'Kelly.
Yep.
Brandon is one that did my oil change. You probably remember him. He didn't have nearly as much trouble opening the hood this time. Last time it took 3 of them to get the hood open. But to be fair, I jerry-rigged it. It's done with a coat hanger, and yeah, it's not the best. So I love these guys here. This is the friendliest place, and they love my bus. I love any place that loves my bus, okay? Because there's so many places that don't love my bus. There's so many places that won't let me park there, won't change my oil. I'm just getting no a lot. But at Valvoline, it's always a yes. So I'm really, really, really hoping that this does it. I mean, it can't hurt, right? It's not going to be cheap.
Right, so I gave you a $15 off discount, and if my computer works, I will let you pay. If it works. Doesn't seem like it ever wants to work.
Well, I guess I can't pay then.
Oh, all right, get out of here.
Okay. Brandon did his magic. Now, we just gotta see if everything works great. If I don't experience my little over rev, then that means the fluids thing took care of it. That's what I'm hoping. That's what I'm hoping. Well, the results are in, and they are inconclusive. Yeah, I have no idea whether that worked or not, whether that fixed the problem or not. It seemed like it did. I didn't hear the thing on the way home, and I was on the same road. There was more traffic, and I was going a little bit slower. So I don't know. I thought I heard it once on a different street, but that could have been my mind playing tricks on me because it usually doesn't happen just once. It's usually like a string of times. So time will tell. I've got to do a little bit more driving. And hopefully we won't have a sequel next week. I don't want to spend another week trying to figure out what's wrong with the bus. I'd like to get on with some road trips and things like that so I can actually... I can't show you a great distance because I have to be here for my mom right now, but I can show you some stuff, and I would really prefer to do that than sit around trying to figure out what's wrong with the bus. Okay, so we'll see about that next Friday, but meanwhile, we have driver's seat unboxing on Sunday. Just a little throwaway thing, but it's fun, I don't know. And then on Tuesday, of course, we have the live stream. I wish you'd come to the live stream. I think you might like it. You don't have to talk, so if you just want to come and lurk, you can come and lurk. I have a feeling we'll draw you out, though. We're good like that.
I got you, honey, and you got me. I got all I could ever need. It's like